G'day friends, welcome to today's YouTube video. My name is James, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. This is about Playtest Patreon 3. It's gonna be a very chatty Cathy video, but it's raining outside if you can hear that. The trains are going nuts. Everything just seems to be working against me today. So hopefully I can get this information out there to you if it is relevant to you. First of all, I have to address anybody who is in old Playtest Patreon experiences. You know it's not a Playtest Patreon unless we launch with some kind of administrative nightmare. So unfortunately, third time's a charm with that one. This time, anyone who didn't unsubscribe, and we've been through this before. I remember telling people the second time, please cancel your membership, please unsubscribe when the Patreon experience was finished in 2019. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't do that and have now been auto-enrolled since I reopened the Patreon account. The problem with that is people are now in tiers that don't exist because I've deleted all of the old ones. All of that old content is now bundled and put on Teachable. So unfortunately, people have been auto-charged whatever their last pledge amount was to join no tier. And I've tried to email, pardon me, I've tried to message everybody on there. I've sent a message out a couple of times trying to let people know what their options are. So I'm just going to let you know here, because if you haven't checked your account, but you have been auto-enrolled and you just don't know yet, let me be the first to tell you, you might have been auto-enrolled and you might have just paid a bunch of money for something that you haven't joined. Now your options, there are a few options. If you would like to just not be a part of it and would like a refund, please message me on Patreon with that account. You have to go in there to see it so I can go and pull up the pledge history and refund you there and see the transaction. So please message me on Patreon. If you pledged an amount and you want to join the Playtester tier, our new experience, if you pledged an amount lower than $25, it will charge you the difference. You can just go ahead and press the join button and it will charge you whatever the difference is. So say you're in a $5 tier, it will charge you the $20 difference to join the new Playtester tier, and you can just go about your merry way from there. If you joined one of the old tiers, like the mailer box tiers that was like $45, that was more expensive than the new tier, I can't issue a partial refund. So if you want to join the Playtester tier, you're going to have to message me for the refund. I'll refund the full amount, cancel your subscription, and then join again. I know it's frustrating, but these are unfortunately our only options, and I want to make sure you know what they are. Alternatively, if you just were charged and you just don't want to be a part of it, message me on Patreon so I can get you that full refund as soon as possible. The reason I want to get this out to you, and I start the video this way, even though it's kind of annoying to say it, is because it is important. Once Patreon pays out, there's really no way for me to get the money that you pledged back to you on Patreon. It's not like Etsy or other platforms where I can just kind of issue a partial refund, or, you know, it pulls from an account somewhere. It has to be done with the money on the Patreon, as far as I'm aware right now. Otherwise, we're going to have to sort out other arrangements to do that. And I really don't want to be doing that like 4 months from now when people suddenly realize, oh, I was auto-enrolled for 3 months and I didn't know. So please go and double check that. Those are your options. I would love to get this sorted as soon as possible. People that have already asked for refunds, some of you still have not unsubscribed from the school or cancelled. You really need to make sure you're removed from JLB Creative Teachable, because I still see there that it's going to auto charge you in February, and we're going to go through all of this over again, and it really takes up a lot of time and energy that I feel guilty not spending on actually doing the content. So if you could please help me out with that, and help yourselves out with that too. I don't want to take your money if you didn't want to give it to me. So those are your options. I hope this message reaches everyone it needs to reach. It is important. But all of that having been said, sorry I just kind of dumped all that on you. Let's talk about what Playtest 3 is all about, because I am excited. It's started, it's kicked off, and I wanted to make sure that you guys knew. My cat is going crazy. Excuse me, Oliver. Do you need to do that right now? Witching hour. In the morning. It's because of the rain, I think. Anyway, Playtest 3. So it's going to go for 3 months, January, February, March. And this time I've structured it with a week A, week B content structure. So week A, you get content on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then week B, it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like every other day, and Sundays are off. And so what I've done with that is, the playtest experience for me has kind of become a way for me to gauge a really small section of my audience and kind of test, right? Like everything is playful, everything's just about fun and enjoying art and journaling, but I want to test certain things that really give me an idea how I want to shape content moving forward, or things like my workshops. Like a lot of what I used to do in Playtest Patreon became a lot of what the content is in my virtual voyage workshops. The themes, the downloads, the different types and styles of videos, even the way I learned to teach and the tutorials that I was giving have really been crafted through those experiences, because in Patreon I get a really good first-hand look at a kind of focus group of people from my wider audience. And so what I think really Playtest Patreon is for me is, it's to test all of that stuff and to kind of, it's to have a focus group, a little, like, I don't want to say group of guinea pigs because it sounds wrong, but it is. It's a bit of like a group of guinea pigs to see if this is the stuff that I want to be bringing out to YouTube, maybe products that I want to be bringing out to my Etsy store. When we used to have those mailer boxes, that's what I used to do. I would test certain types of products I hadn't done before. And even since then, we've actually created products like that were successful from those playtest experiences. So for me, it is like a really good study focus group where I can get a good look at what I want to do in the future. But also for my patrons, for my playtesters, it's just a way for you to engage in your creativity, your art and journaling, and just have more of it. I know that I share a lot on Instagram, as much as I can share, and I do little TikToks and I do my YouTube videos once a week, but some people just really want more. I mean, I remember what it was like when I first started journaling. I mean, even to now. It's never really stopped. I just want more. I'm greedy. I want more and more and more and more, especially when I'm enjoying something. I'm really on a kick with something. New year, new resolutions, all that type of stuff. I really like to kind of go, we have a term for it. Let's just say full out with lashes. There you go. I'm going to use that term because the other one doesn't seem appropriate. You want to go full out with lashes. You want all the content. You want all of the tutorials and everything. So I feel like as a patron, that's kind of what you're signing up for. We did distinguish this playtest a little differently from the others in that we don't have a mailer tier this time. It just wasn't feasible to do it this time with my current schedule, and I would have rather focused on the content rather than be missing in action trying to deal with manufacturing issues that we always deal with. So I removed that element this time. That's not to say it will never come back, but yeah, left that to the wayside. The digital downloads, that's also something that's really different. This time, if you've already joined, you'll know there are reference downloads. So when we do lessons or I'm teaching something or I want you to have something to look at while we're going through something, you'll have a digital download. So it's not like there isn't anything to download and print, but as far as collage sheets being like an element of the Patreon experience, I've left that for my Collage Club subscription. I mean, I kind of considered it, like, in all transparency. I was like, maybe I could do a set of collage sheets for Patreon as well, but I just felt like most people that were joining the Patreon experience would have also been a part of Collage Club, and it would just be either too much to get or double handling in some places. So I felt like just leave that to what that is, because it already exists. And the reason Collage Club exists is because of, again, these experiences I've had before where I felt like this would be another offering I would like to do as a part of my business. So, the playtest is also a really good opportunity for patrons to get involved in shaping the direction of what happens at JLB Creative for the rest of the year, right? Or years moving forward. Forward? Wow, my accent is struggling. Forward. I'm Australian, I remembered. So this time I've kind of also made it a bit different in that there's going to be a lot of opportunity to choose. Polls, specifically. Polls about what types of videos, what types of series, what types of books, what types of blah, blah, blah. I'm going to make sure that it's really active for you guys to choose and to get involved, because I would really like to test that as well, since it's something that I've been staunchly against from the beginning. I have a curiosity that I need to itch. I would just want to know how things would be different if my audience really did get to choose a lot of what was happening. I've always been a firm believer in do what I want to do when I want to do it, because at least then I could enjoy and like really honestly want to go and do it. And I don't feel like I'm obliged to do anything. But at the same time, I think there is a lot of value in getting very clear feedback and direction from the people that are engaging with it. So I'm kind of in between on that one, but I am going to try it, and it's going to be a part of that play test. As with everything, it's all subject to change. I'll make sure you know the changes. I'm pretty set on it though. But yeah, things like the series, I mean, this is essentially how it's going to operate. And now that I've got the first week A, week B for January kind of figured out, I thought I'd just let you know what we're kind of doing right now. And so you could just decide whether it's something you want to be a part of, whether you want all of this extra content and all this extra kind of tutorials and series and all this stuff. I want you to know what's in there, at least for January, because it will all change in February, I guess. But yeah, so we've got the week A, week B content. So week A, which we're currently in, when you see this video, it's the first week, we're doing series of things as well. So these are things that will pick back up the next week A, and I'll eventually let you choose whether the series stops, or if we keep going, or if I move the series to YouTube. So things like that is what I'm kind of considering, or if we move the series into a workshop. So that's kind of how you get to decide how this all works out. But week A, the first thing we did was the Art of Tim Burton playtime, and so that is taking my art coffee table books and using them as inspiration for a lot of artistic and creative playtime in journals. So we did the Art of Tim Burton, which is a massive coffee table book. Had a great time, did 3 illustrations that were inspired by works directly from the book, and that was that. So there's a poll that went up after that where you get to choose the next book for the playtime, and I believe right now the winner is They Drew As They Pleased, which is a bit of a trick on my part because I have so many of those books, so I still get to choose which one, which time period I choose, but it's about Disney animation, so that looks like it's in the lead. You can vote on multiple, and there are a few that are kind of close. The Art of Tim Burton came back up as one of the front runners as well, but just in case you don't get one you want, I've still got my idea of what's most popular in that group to possibly put on YouTube next as a Friday video that you might see in February or March. So that's how I'm kind of using a lot of this feedback as well, pardon me, like I said, to shape the rest of how I make all these decisions regarding content and, how I choose to share what I share. So, Mondays. Wednesdays is Wednesdays, and so we're looking at rendering styles with Wednesday Addams as a character, which is something that, we did a pencil scribble rendering style today. It's something that I would like to elaborate more on in a workshop, and so I'm kind of testing that out a little bit. It's a little prelude to what I think might be part of a workshop somewhere. I just like to iron all of it out, and I really like to test things and see were they things I missed, and especially if I can use it to, I'm using you guys literally. If I can see the results, that is also a really great indicator of whether I'm getting the right messages across or things that I might need to stress as details that are important about the lesson. So I love being able to do that. So thank you again for all the people that have already shared their Wednesdays, because I have some ideas about things that I would need to be more clear about as well. Even though I think you all did wonderfully, it was my own thing. I had debated whether I should put a whole precursor to that lesson in about pencil scribbling and the different types and how to change it all up. And I thought, no, it's all right, I'll explain it in the video. But now that I see the results, I think we probably could have benefited from doing a few little pencil scribbles beforehand, which is, again, the results are wonderful, but it was something that I specifically thought about in the lesson that I would think, if I went to go and teach that in a workshop, this is how I would start that, and this is what I do first. So good things to note for me. And then Fridays are, hang on a second. Fridays are Finish It Fridays. So I don't know, you haven't seen it yet. Sorry, I've spoiled the surprise for you. I'm going to spoil week B as well. So if you're a patron, you don't want to hear what's coming up, just leave now. But Finish It Fridays. And that I'm also curious about whether we're going to do the thing that I do tomorrow, or if I'm going to switch it up and just say journals can also be a Finish It Friday, or because at the moment I'm doing I did a prompts sheet for Collage Club for January 2023, and I'm doing those as the Finish It Fridays, and I've done a whole bunch of them. It's actually quite fun, and very laid back, very easy, very just a fun thing to do. But I felt there are also lots of journals I have that could benefit from being just a little finished, or there's just a last little thing I need to do. And so I wondered if maybe I would do that real time next Finish It Friday. That's up in the air too. Like I said, you guys get to choose. So I'll let you decide on that. Week B, no one really knows what's happening in week B yet. So again, I'm going to spoil it for you. I just want you to know what's happening in January, because again, in February, the series might change if we want to try something new, and some of those series will get put off to the side and come back at YouTube at some point maybe, or in a workshop, or we can choose to go along with the series if you really like it. If it's something that people really engage with and you want to see more of it, or I feel like I want to keep going with it because it's a longer than, you know, really if you go week A, week B, you only get 2 of those videos a month. So maybe some things could benefit from being a 4-part series. So it might be January, February, if that makes sense. But week B, Tuesday, I just love alliteration. So honestly, it became a lot of like, what rhymes with Tuesday, or what starts with a T that I could do, which it was good anyway. I was thinking tutorial Tuesdays, but in essence, what I have decided is I'm doing a long form tutorial. This is not like, it's not all from start to finish in one tutorial. We're breaking it down into specific sections so we can focus on the section a lot more. And I've already done next week's, and I'm really, really happy with it. I actually don't know if I've done this before. I'm sure I've done it in some capacity, but being really intentional about it this time feels different because I felt like I could really explain what was going on in great detail that I haven't really been able to do before. But that also could just be me just being really excited to tell it. So, and also feeling confident about it as well. That's one of the things I found, so random sidetrack, but like over time teaching, the more confident I am with something, the better I seem to feel about the lessons. So if it feels really familiar, I tend to like those lessons the most, even if they're not the best lessons. I'm biased towards them because I just feel like I'm confident and I like that. So anyway, feel confident about Tuesday. Again, I'm going to see what happens and use that information to go forward from there. But that is a long form tutorial series, so there's multiple parts to it. And by the end of it, we'll have built up all of the skills. It's kind of like building blocks. One lesson builds onto the next. And by the end of it, we'll have a finished result, which I'm really excited about because it's very personalized. It's all going to be a part of a group of work, but it's going to end up being very individual. And I'm really excited to see what you come up with. But that one, so I won't spoil what it is, but there you go. Tuesday, Thursday I'm really excited for as well, because this is probably one of the things that is the most appropriate to be behind a paywall at this point. I don't like to put things behind a paywall like as if there's a reason that you have to pay for it, but the pure fact is behind a paywall, like you tend to get a lot of more I guess a lot of more privacy. Like it's a smaller group, and so you tend to feel like it's a little bit more safe. In essence, I know that's not really true because anyone who hates me could spend $25 to go and look at it, and I hope they do. Honestly, be a fan, like come look. But the Thursday series I'm most excited for because I'm just curious about how it's going to go. It is called Throwback Thursday, the last 5 years. Again, it had to be alliteration. I wanted to do this from the start. This is one of the things that inspired me to try a whole bunch of different series of things, because I felt like something like this would be great for YouTube this year specifically, because I couldn't have done it any other year. But I also don't know if how I'm going to do it might lead to a lot of personal reflection that might not be appropriate to put out on such a wide public platform. When it's, you know, like I think within Patreon, there's this understanding that it is this smaller focused group, and that, you know, it's more privileged information back there. It's not widely spread. It's not easily accessible. You know, it is behind that paywall. So you feel like at least it stays a little bit more contained. It's not on the big, scary World Wide Web as we know it, fully publicly. And so essentially what this series is I'm going to go through full entries in my 5-year Hobonichi journal. This is the last year I'm filling out that journal. So as I write the passages in, like especially this last week, I've been finishing it. Like each page just gets finished as I go through, and it's so bittersweet because I've had this journal for so long. So it feels like a chapter is closing, but I know a new one is opening, so it's fine. I'm so happy to see it all complete because I remember buying it and thinking, oh, I can't wait to see what this all looks like. And now I'm here, but I'm writing through it, and then I glance through like literally the last 5 years of my life on that day. And it is so wild. Like it is a wild feeling to go back and know who I was then, and like the experience I was having then. I know what I was thinking when I wrote that, and to have like 4 years of hindsight to look back at that and think, what an idiot. Like, why did I feel like that? Or like, yes, I had every reason to feel like that. And oh, if I knew then what I knew now, like I would have been even more angry when I wrote that. Like things like that. I will say when I write in that journal, nothing is too obvious. There are some things that are a little bit personal that you would probably end up talking about as a part of the series, because we're going to go through it. I'm going to, at this point, I plan on reading you the passages and just really going off on a tangent and having a chat about it. But yeah, I'm going to test that out because that's something that is very personal. I have a policy where I don't share my wounds. I only share my scars on YouTube. We've had personal conversations before about things that are really deep and revealing. And yeah, I don't like to engage in things that aren't really resolved or have some kind of good message around them. So that's something that I will be looking to explore and test and see if there is a way that could be a YouTube series without it kind of stepping on my own boundaries, if that makes sense. Because I will just kind of go like unchained when I go to do it. Like I'm just gonna let it all out, see what happens in that video, and gauge the feedback from there. But very excited to do that one. I've been waiting for this moment for years, so here we go. And then Saturday this is the last of the week A, week B content for January. Saturday Chatterday, a podcast. So it's not a video. Everything else to this point has been videos. So it's tons of video stuff, really long videos as well. So if you're sick of the 10-second scroll on TikTok, there's lots of long videos for you to chill out to. My mum's been falling asleep to them, so we're still verified on the sleeping front. They are still good to fall asleep to, my mum told me. But yeah, I mean, I don't need to sell it to you. If you want to be there, you'll be there. I do encourage you though, if you want to be a part of it, please be a part of it while it's live. All of this content will be bundled and you'll be able to purchase it afterwards on Teachable. The only problem is not all of it is evergreen, right? Some of it is very dated, but tutorials tend to be a bit evergreen. I have always said in the workshops, like it's better to be a part of it live because everyone kind of posts around the same time and there is so much, motivation in that group camaraderie, that group posting, that encouragement that comes all at the same time. So over the past couple of days, since yesterday, I've seen a ton of people posting their Wednesday Adamses. So everyone's kind of all doing it at the same time and you can really feel like you're a part of it. And also, I think that's a really valuable thing. I love that about workshops and I love that when we're doing it live. And this is very much like a workshop, only there's no overall theme and we're not trying to teach you anything specific. It's all just fun and test and lots of varied content. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say, I think, about Playtest 3. That's how it's different. That's how I'm running it this time. It's 3 months because I've said this before. I don't believe Patreon is a good platform to grow on over time. I think people have a funny feeling about Patreon. I've explained all of this in a YouTube video before. I like to use it for these 2 to 3 month stints because it's very doable. I find I just pour everything I've got into it and just kind of exhaust all my resources for those 2 or 3 months. And then afterwards, I can take a step back, evaluate. I find it's the only way I can also consistently offer publicly accessible content as well. If I was doing Patreon long term, I feel like I'd go the way of many creators where a lot of the public content just starts to dwindle away. And I've just never wanted that. It's never something that I've been interested in. So yeah, that is my personal feelings about that. Those are all my feelings about me, by the way. Just in case you're thinking of I'm targeting anybody else with those statements. I've seen plenty of people who have Patreon who also do tons of public content and manage to grow and do everything they want to do. So it's not a given. I just think for me, the way I like to run things, it just seems like it'd be almost impossible. So 2 to 3 months is always a good idea for me. It's kind of like a summer camp, really. Except it's raining right now and it's fully winter. That's also nice and cozy for us to spend lots of time together. Okay. I think I'll leave it at that. That's all my playtest information. Again, if you made it to this point and you are one of those people that need a refund, please, 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 please do it. I don't want to put a disclaimer in like, oh, if you don't get it done by February, I'm keeping your money forever. But the reality is, if it's not done by March, there's really not much I can do. We're going to get into a really sick gray area of trying to do money transfers from banks and stuff. And I just don't personally feel comfortable doing stuff like that. So I might just take it as a loss at that point. Who knows? I would just love it if we could get it sorted ASAP. And please, if you don't want to be a part of it and you've tried and you've gotten your refund and that's it, just cancel it. Like, find whatever the verbiage that says, like, leave James Luke Burke Creative forever. Like, delete the whole thing altogether. Like, just get rid of it. or turn off your auto payment on your card or your PayPal, or take the card off Patreon so it has nothing to actually charge, so it just gets a declined transaction. Like, those are options too, but I just love it if you could just do that for me, please. And for yourself, like, again, I don't want to take your money. I don't want people to think I'm trying to scam people out of money. It would be the last thing I would want from this experience, but Patreon just love to be difficult. This is the way they're going to be difficult this year, and once we can jump this hurdle, we'll have a wonderful time. We're already having a wonderful time. It's my issue, not yours. Unless it is, and get your refund. All right, I'll see you again soon. Thanks for listening. That's a lot. I feel like I can breathe now. I didn't take a breath that whole video. Can you believe? All right, see you later. Bye.